So there we go. Second game is exactly right now up. It's going to be home map for the Uncrepables B, aka the Owls. They're gonna be choosing Oasis, and the gods are for them Oranos and Kronos. So they're gonna be sticking with the same, which of course makes sense. Atlanteans are quite solid on Oasis. As for the opponent, Count von Count and MiracleMan, they are going to be taking civilizations which are quite familiar to them as well. Count von Count is going to be switching at least from Loki from the first game into Odin, and as MiracleMan is going to be switching from the Gaia into the Oranos. So I'm expecting this is going to be quite fun, and we should be seeing probably some UCA raiding from Count von Count, even though it depends a bit also on high hunt this Oasis is going to be. It's usually quite low hunt all around. So you can see even right now starting with the two zebras, it's not going to be all that much of a different case this time. But at least the gold mine for him is going to be quite nice, and for the ally to the bottom, it's going to be absolutely the same. For the opponents, it's not really that much difference, especially looking at Swissboy. Also going to be having quite a safe gold mine that's going to be hard to raid for the opponent in there. And apparently it seems to me that Swissboy is starting without economical guild. He doesn't want to be getting the hunting dogs apparently, as for example opposed to MiracleMan, who is going for the hunting dogs in there. And all the way to the bottom, you're going to be also checking out onto 9, who is doing the same. So neither of them are right now going for hunting dogs, and to be honest I kind of have to agree, because once you are going to be starting with only 2 zebras, it usually means that this is going to be a low hunt. Low hunt Oasis, maybe a few giraffes are going to be available in there. So I'm thinking that for the Atlanteans, it doesn't have to be really the end of the world, and it actually could be maybe even advantageous not to be going for that and sparing the resources for something a bit different. Otherwise, it's front TC here. It's going to be 9 right now against Count, so it's going to be a bit switch over between the matchups from the last game. He's going to be having quite a nice front TC in here with the gold mine a bit... No, kind of unlucky because of the wood line, but still reasonably close. So just a palace there is probably not going to be anything all that problematic. As the front TC for Count, I don't like it that much, but it's also not really that bad. I mean, like, I don't like it because it doesn't head towards the enemy all that much. So therefore, it's not going to be that important for map control, but at the same time, looking right now at the gold mine, it does have something going for it. So it does have something is going against it, something is going to be in the end reasonably okay. So there are going to be plenty of gold mines all across this part of the map. So yet again, just basically signaling the importance of this. Scout LOS with Oracle getting +4 LOS in there. Interesting for them. And apparently, we're going to be looking at a great hunt on plenty of goatees at this point. Or maybe even the zebras, aka giraffes rather. Alright, that's a bit unexpected. I was thinking maybe he could be going a bit more for the goats. He's having already plenty of them. So getting even more might have been kind of interesting. Doesn't need to be worried about 15 cents from Ra or anything like that, but nonetheless, it's gonna be really tons of giraffes, and since he does have the hunting dogs for him, it's gonna be right now allowing him to be gathering from the fastest source for quite some time, and a whole lot longer than, for example, for the opponents. Extra hunt, potentially even lions in there with a bit of food, with some kind of walling that is definitely gonna be needed here to exactly protect this part of the hunt in there. But nonetheless, this is going to be a huge Oasis in the middle, which will of course limit the raiding quite significantly, especially if the players are going to be properly walling, which so far it's not exactly coming, but it's going to be coming a bit later, I'm expecting. So there we go. It's going to be Hoplite, Spearman, Ulfsag, Skrelin, and Murmillo Hack Attack. So basically like against... that's against horses, basically anti-cavalry damage in there. With the front is right about now for Swissboy being kind of tricky. It might be helpful, basically similar way for Count von Count, not exactly for the gold, but rather for trade a bit later. I mean, like start trade, for example, here, and go into the back TC here, or for green, start there, and go all the way to the top TC. You can see it's plenty of hunt yet again, available potentially for Swissboy, but thing is, as the players are... Whoa, crash like that. No, let's see about this. How effective this is going to be as all the way to the top side. This is actually fairly important, because Count von Count was hoping that he's going to be able to finish with the hunting without any kind of interference pretty much. But it's not exactly the truth, and therefore, right about now, 9 is in for a bit of a boon for him, and Count von Count might be in for a bit of a trouble. Maybe he should have gone for the goats in there. Yeah, well, nonetheless, didn't exactly expect that kind of advance from the opponent. Let's see if it's going to be really working for him, as Count von Count is... of course, gonna be right now advancing, but is he gonna be finishing with this in time? No, that's... I don't think so. That's a no. That is quite a solid no at this point. So he's gonna be missing the free Valkyrie in there. That's really unlucky for him. But very well played by NyanRacingCat, of course. So, No extra Valkyrie, therefore a bit of a problematic raiding for him, and no extra Forest Fire for him either. So all kinds of problems right now coming for Count, and of course since he is still getting the extra resources back from the temple, he shouldn't be having all that much of a problem finishing in the longhouse. But the early defense is certainly gonna be quite suffering for him, and those animals all the way to the top, yet again, still a bit of a problem for him. Nonetheless, all the way to the middle, this is gonna be right now Swissboy at a bit of a safer hand, which I'm halfway thinking is actually supposed to be Racing Cats. Actually, I think it is. Yeah, because he doesn't have anything into the middle. So I'm thinking that's going to be and supposed to be greens. And he didn't exactly want to be risking it right now. Swissboy going all the way into the middle. Little Promethean's just going to be running around. You can see a bit of scouting behind the base. But other than that, nothing much going on. But the units are apparently all heading for the hunt into the middle, as they are well cooperating for Nyan or with Nyan. And they are doing quite a correct job of that, because this is definitely something that they don't want to let the enemy get it from all that easily. Nonetheless, right now, NyanRacingCat is probably going to be having a bit of a problem kind of maintaining the pressure quite soon. At this point, I'm thinking that actually Count is going to be wishing that he stayed with Loki. Because he could be getting some good free units against the Atlantean. Yeah, the switching through Odin is slightly interesting, especially considering what kind of map we have. But nonetheless, he seems to be right about now able to defend, especially with the help of the watchtowers. And with a few more houses right now coming forward, he's going to be able to get as many units as he potentially can. But at this stage, he is still a bit hamstrung on the food. He at least does have the goats in there, but he doesn't have any kind of other upgrade as far as, for example, husbandry. And yeah, well, it is coming for the opponent, who does have plenty of goats still, so you could be still getting at least some kind of extra food out of it. In the meantime, MiracleMan with Swissboy are gonna be having a bit of a chase around the map, it seems. Yeah, so far it seems to be doing, or rather going rather well for MiracleMan, but the basic complete lack of walling is a bit annoying me here, because it's quite an obvious play that should be made, especially when you are having this huge Oasis in the middle. So basically just completely limit those kind of nonsenses running around here. That really shouldn't be happening at all. But yeah, well, you can see that Count is exactly right now realizing the thing, and he's gonna be right now coming back for the hunt, I'm expecting. So, nicely done. Just gonna be also plugging the hole all the way to the bottom as well, as this one is not that bad. It's gonna be leading into the enemy taking a lot of damage. So it's not like he wants to be preventing it all that much. Basically wants to be funneling the enemy into a really bad position and potentially catch him off guard there, and even stopping him with his own units. But nonetheless, this is gonna be right now resulting into yet again raiding from Swissboy, and MiracleMan certainly will have to be sending one of the villages here into the wall and really just basically prepare for whatever might be coming for him. All the way to the top, just a few apparently even catapulties are coming forward, and they're gonna be scouting the area around the front TC of his opponent, as the hunt is still available for him, and apparently maybe even for a bit longer. Maybe for a bit longer, as here this is gonna be right now Nyan having at least a bit of an army here as well, and apparently gonna be joining with Swissboy, which seems like that MiracleMan might be having a bit more to chew right about now. And might be just getting a bit problematic, because you can see that he's losing all the units here. This is a really bad fight for him altogether, and should be probably getting towers as soon as possible. As Pickaxe is coming forward, at least for Swissboy. And Blue, well, finally sending at least a few Ulfsacks, and that's exactly what you expected at the start of the game. But Count is getting to it only now, and therefore, well, in the meantime, he also needs to be paying attention a bit elsewhere, it seems like. For example, as his enemy is advancing on him, but otherwise, he's gonna be kind of hard-pressed to get the army going right proper, because so far Green seems to be controlling the map quite properly all the way to the bottom, with basically the staff from the crush in there, and to the top side MiracleMan is certainly struggling as well. So let's see if they're gonna be able to get out of this, as they for example did in the last game, because they were on a bit of a back foot there as well for quite some time, and they were able to manage to get back. As medium cavalry for Count, now that's an interesting switch right about now. Apparently the Odin is gonna be right now going half like Ulfsacks and half horses. Oh, that's wasted resources. That's just basically 40 food and 50 gold lost. Do absolutely nothing in that. It's not exactly great, but it's only so far one unit. But right now the construction on the quite a crucial tower, that is one hell of a problem. And of course that's gonna be resulting into Count von Count not having enough army here, and he's gonna be having to retreat with at least a bit. Thing is that he needs to be also running after at least a few turmas here. They are still raiding by Nyan, and therefore he cannot send everything back to defense. In the meantime, at least second TC is right now finished for MiracleMan, so he went for a bit more economical approach, hoping that he's gonna be able to survive the attack by Swissboy for at least a bit. And that he's not gonna be really like somehow destroyed completely and utterly like way too quickly, which so far doesn't seem to be really such a bad idea. As MiracleMan seems to be able to handle his opponent at least for the time being, as Green is pushing forward. But there is gonna be some kind of engagement between Swissboy and MiracleMan. And looking at the units, well, I was going to say that maybe Red could be having an advantage, but thing is, that right about now they are fighting right next to the military buildings of MiracleMan and next to the TC, so in the long run, he really shouldn't be having all that much of a chance how to fight against that, especially with the next Valor just now coming in. I'm really still thinking that MiracleMan should be going for the towers. Husbandry for Swissboy, is he really having that many goats? Nope. Okay, so he's not having... come on. You really don't need husbandry if you are Atlantean, if you are gonna be right now left with one goat. So, not entirely certain if you fully realize that. But nonetheless, apparently he's gonna be having at least 2 goats. Or did he switch it over? Or was it somebody else and I confused it? I don't think so, I think it was Swissboy. But looking at how the goat doesn't have X, then he apparently switched it off and over. So good thinking in the end, realizing that it's not exactly the cleverest of ideas to be getting that, but nonetheless right now you can see on the minimap that NyanRacingCat is gonna be getting second TC, Swissboy is attempting the same, unfortunately the front one, and he's gonna be caught off guard there, so very well played, and nice scouting by MiracleMan, but it was only a distraction apparently it seems, and slight disruption because he doesn't have solid army enough to get rid of that. Nonetheless, the back TC though is gonna be disrupted by an account for Nyan. He's gonna be right now having 4 villages not doing anything at all. No, maybe they're gonna be at least dying. Like for example that one. So yeah, they did something in there. But nonetheless, he's also gonna be under quite a heavy assault right now from Green. And with Green having such a huge army right in this middle. Oh, those guys are so dead. Those guys are so dead. They have nowhere to escape. This is basically like the closest place where they could be escaping. Potentially even the TC, which has just been finished at the second one, so it's not really entirely impossible for him. I've seen some heroic age, no, that was only a relic. But Count von God is already gonna be through Scary sometime quickly. No, sometime quickly, about 50 seconds in there. And he's gonna be, of course, going up on the economy. And much more importantly, the Ragnarok is getting ever so closer for him. So, in the meantime though, of course, the army from NyanRacingCat is definitely not half bad. And I'm thinking he should be probably going for a bit more raiding into the economy. Maybe even into MiracleMan, who is so far doing quite a nice job all the way to the top, fighting against Swissboy. As it seems like that Swissboy is going to be at least a bit of an upper hand. And that is of course kind of dangerous for the teal player, because this is his front TC. And if he loses this ground, and oh well, yeah, it's gonna be quite a hard double coming for him fairly quickly. No, this is gonna be up to right now Count von Gaun to stop everything that he can. And apparently he's gonna be able to even fry a few citizens alive in here and stab them, or not stab, they are having axes, so chop off their backs or heads or whatever like that. And this is of course gonna be resulting into another citizen dead here. Oh yeah, so that's actually 2 citizens already dead right about now for Red, and he's not gonna be able to finish with the TC either. However, all the way to the bottom, there was a Count von Gaun yet again trying to stop this TC yet again, but NyanRacingCat was this time paying attention with a few catapulties. There was a bit of scouting on the gold all the way here with 10% villager movement speed. Quite a nice relic for him to be had, as apparently right now NyanRacingCat kind of turned back from attacking onto MiracleMan, which I kind of thought was a good idea. And he turned onto the gold mine that Count von Gaun was going for, but unluckily for Green. Blue is already having quite a solid army with medium wolf sacks and copper shields on top of that, and he's probably gonna be able to handle the situation right fine. Pretty much the same as all the way to the top. Right now MiracleMan is gonna be pushing against the opponent and maybe gonna be having quite a solid chance how to get rid of the town center. Especially looking at the 5 citizens there, it's not boding all that well right now for Swissboy. So plow and bronze shields, quite good upgrades coming for Count, but he's kind of worried about those Scare Ballistae there that he's having from the Kronos in abundance all the way to the bottom. Exactly, and also plenty of Turmas. You can see there are not all that many other units, like only a few catapults, not even any murmillos. So, oh, nice maneuvering. He's gonna be right now costing NyanRacingCat basically his whole army, so very well done. With the bronze shields on top of that, that's not gonna be anything all that hard right now to get rid of, as those Turmas don't have any kind of huge attack. And without the carrier ballistae, this is gonna be turning into a right proper disaster. Gonna be catching that army slightly better, instead of going for the Promethean, but still. Doesn't mind all that much, the enemy is gonna be keeping a few Turmas. As all the way to the top side, this is just MiracleMan having a bit of a sightseeing tour around this little forest. And he's gonna be right now heading back, but at least, in the meantime, he's gonna be right now giving himself a time to build the front TC. So very well done, and that's why also he didn't continue all the way back, but he rather switched all the way to the bottom to basically lure the army after him and buy himself exactly the time for this. But, oh, that's gonna be tricky. Tricky. That actually seems like a threat might be... Oh, no, that actually turned around there. Might be problem. It might be actually costing him. Right now, is he gonna be noticing? No, exactly not. Oh, that was close. Exactly as I have said. That little turnaround there, where he basically hesitated slightly, that's the result. Because if he didn't, then that extra one, like 1 or 2 seconds here, would have been probably enough damage to put the TC from the range of getting finished. But right about now, getting there with Hyperion as the next one on the line, with a few Satyrs coming quite so close by as well. This is looking not all that great for Swissboy, and MiracleMan is certainly right about now having a reason to be leading the score by 300 points. Nonetheless, Count has also finished with the front TC in there all the way to the bottom, as there's a bit of a fight between few Prometheans and their offspring. And some kind of blue units, gonna be apparently destroyed by the town center fairly quickly. As all the way to the top side, there was a bit of a raiding yet again by Khan, as he was trying to check, probably on the gold mine, as he probably realized that the town center is gonna be already finished. Okay, so far not all that many upgrades. Actually, he's not having anything. Still the same bronze shields with medium infantry. For Count, with Hyperion, we have seen 45 TC and copper weapons in there. This gold still being very much alive, as he's not kind of Count is really impatiently looking at this gold, it seems to me. He really wants to be getting the raid, wants to be going there for a bit of raid and a bit later, once he's gonna be finally occupied, as the front TC for NyanRacingCat so far is guarded, but I'm thinking that once all the might is gonna be sent against that, well, not entirely positive that actually 9 is going to be able to withstand all that much. Nonetheless, all the way to the top side, we are going to be looking at medium Murmillos with copper shields and copper weapons in there. At least for MiracleMan, whereas for Swissboy, we are looking at non-upgraded Murmillos with nothing from the armory. So therefore, MiracleMan is already having quite a solid advantage in here, and it's a question of time before he's going to be able to deal with his opponent. At least Hyperion coming forward from NyanRacingCat as well as the Kronos, with a bit of a tactical wall in, and of course, no, this is actually not a bad frost, because this is resulting into freezing even like 8 citizens here. Actually more than that. 12 citizens frozen for a minute. That's like half of the economy. And that's also right about now the reason why the opponents are already contemplating the GGs, and they're gonna be doing that because Swissboy is realizing that he pretty much is losing the battle against MiracleMan after quite a solid fight. Whereas all the way to the bottom, it's not boding all that well for NyanRacingCat either. And while it isn't really that decided here, I think that still could have been quite an interesting fight here. All the way to the top, it really looks to me that MiracleMan has been able to basically break the opposition of Swissboy. And even though Swissboy was quite close to really put MiracleMan into a situation hard to come back from, let's say, earlier in the game, well, MiracleMan held on, and he was able right about now to exactly turn it around. So very nicely done. And it's gonna be JSS taking quite important 2 victories for them in the run for the first spot in Division number 1. Whereas UCABs, well, maybe they could have missed very important points because they weren't too far away, especially in this game, but in the last one either, to get quite a valuable victory. And that might be, maybe, complicating their fight for the 3rd spot and for the playoffs. Let's see. Yeah, right now looking at MiracleMan's, of course, quite a good economy yet again. He was in very good economy in the last game because of Gaia, but here as the Oranos, quite nice. He was also getting the second TC in there, so not really all that much of a problem. And a really good army on top of that. Even though the units killed are not exactly there, you can see Swissboy is having more. Well, it was all working towards a correct goal, and it turned into a victory in the end for him. But quite a nice idea with the crash. It's not entirely like a full-on crash, but it's a bit of a like raidy crash. Raidy crash that basically is gonna be stopping at least the hunt for the opponent, for example, making it problematic for him to be getting the gold, losing the temple because of reconstruction. So it was really well played by Nyan. Really well played, and it really did put Count back quite significantly, put him in an issue. So maybe if they properly doubled there, together with Swissboy, maybe I could have really destroyed Count. I'm thinking if actually they start double like that and continue like with solid push, it might be actually legitimately working in a team game. Nonetheless, you can see on the difference in the researches in there, 3 and 5. They really went hardcore, Nyan and Swissboy, and it just didn't work out in the end. Yeah, plenty of Prometheans actually from all the players in here. NyanRacingCat 27 Turmas in there. Yeah, but once that big battle happened, the outmaneuvering by Count von Kahn that was quite successful right next to his base, that was already the time. Always going to be the time when Nyan is gonna be heading into war's progress going on. There again, quite nice booming by Count von Count. Wasn't too much disrupted by the raiding. It seems like they didn't have really all that many losses on the villages. He was able to really escape quite in time, even though there was solid raiding by the enemy. Yeah, Swissboy kind of like stagnating here, with NyanRacingCat slowly growing as well, but MiracleMan growing a whole lot more than them. And the military was kind of similar for all the players all the time. You can see that Count lost a lot of units in here in the fighting that he had to be basically saving by the Frost, but the Frost was also quite good and freezing like half of the opposing economy. That really does count as well, because he was freezing about 12 villages. You can see it's basically literally half of them from Nyan, so half of his economy is suddenly not working for a minute almost. Yeah, that does put you back quite a bit. It really does. You can see MiracleMan yet again, great economy, but about 5,000 more resources than the second best, who was Count von Count, but nonetheless, GG. Okay, so let's correct the score. That's gonna be right now 2k for Jesus winning the match 2-0. And I'm gonna be right now quickly looking if maybe there is something unexpectedly going on right about now, some other match. Doesn't seem so at this point. So therefore there should be next match in about an hour at the 19 GMT. So literally in an hour there's gonna be another match that we have planned. That's going to be Deities of Death B versus all-time best. So I hope you're gonna be around for that one. And right about now, since it's about an hour away, I'm probably gonna be closing it. Closing the stream and starting it again after for the next session. So I hope that you enjoyed this one. As usual, I'm gonna be reminding you of all the community things like rts-sanctuary.com, which is the home of the Age of Mythology community, with all kinds of discussions there, recorded games from past and present, strategy guides, literally anything. So if you would be visiting us, you would be glad. And there is also Age of Mythology Heaven for scenarios and mods, and Reddit/Age of Mythology. Otherwise, for us as RTS League, we are having Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and also freshly Discord since about like a month ago. So if you want to be discussing the game and potentially even the matches that are played in RTS League, which is of course something that you'll be glad of, if you are interested in that, even beyond the streams, then visit us. You can also find the link below the stream to all of the social channels and the Discord. And the social channels otherwise are quite simple, same as this Twitch/RTS League. Everything is simple in there. So, these games have been played on Woobly, the best place for Age of Mythology and Age of Empires multiplayer, and using Woobly balance patch 3.0, as you could have seen, using all kinds of gods like Odin and Gaia and Kronos. So, yeah, well, whatever players want to be playing on the balance patch they can, but if you want to be playing the original game, original version, no problem. Even for example vanilla, you can be doing whatever you want on Woobly. Nothing is compulsory, and you can be playing also whatever modes you want. So for example like Forest Escape, CS, Tiny, Settlers, or for example with other teammates against AI, against the Titan AI, all is possible and all is happening and going on. So if you want to be joining for some Age of Mythology fun, then well, Woobly is also quite a good place to be. No matter what kind of version you're playing, if it's with the Titans or just the vanilla. But nonetheless, I've been Blackadder at the RTS League channel. Thank you for watching, and see you in about an hour with the second match of today.